I just have to be sure about the date. In 1981, Fela sang a song. I'll sing 2 songs before I buttress my point. He said, I open my eye and I see for my country power show. Everywhere, every corner, everybody they do power show. Power show. Fela also sang another song. Zombie, oh zombie, zombie, oh zombie. Zombie no go come unless you tell them to come, zombie. Those songs are very apt today concerning the case of Dele Farotimi. And for all that thought Dele Farotimi was very strict and very stern in his words when he will come here and said there was nothing as a Nigerian citizen, Dele has been proven right today. Dele, take your flowers because you were correct. Because like Dele will say, Nigerian citizens don't have rights. Their rights are trampled upon. It's just about one big man not liking your face. They'll tell the police and the police will run along. But the same police that comes to meet us, to defend them. I remember my boss, I admire so much, Prince Uduka Baegbana, talking about the story of a guy top there in military intelligence and the role he did to track down journalists. He said one night he saw somebody in his Frank Omenka. He saw somebody in his kitchen, and the next thing, the same Frank Omenka that was violating them now became the Frank Omenka that was running for help. You see, those I really want to talk about. Thank you for all of those that have commented and speaking up Dele Farotimi. Those that I pity the most are the slaves that are going everywhere to say, good for him, because he's talking for justice, good for him. You see, I will just remind them, as a Yoruba saying, that the cane that was used to beat the last wife is still there waiting.
Yeah. The senior wife.
The senior wife is still there waiting for all of us. All of us will chop that cane one day, and you will see how brutal the Nigerian state can be.
Yeah, well,
so don't worry, keep abusing him.
No.
You can never be as great as the soul of Dele Farotimi's feet.
Yes.
Section 373 of the Criminal Code deals with defamation. What is defamation? When you expose another individual to ridicule, to hatred, or you lower the person's estimation, integrity in the eyes of members of the public. So to that extent, in other words, we're saying that nobody has a right to defame or libel the other person. That's what the law says. The law, however, says that there is defense. If you are speaking out of public interest, if there is justification to say that you are saying the truth, in other words, it's not automatic that when you are accused of libel, you will be punished for it. Now, there's been some argument whether it's a criminal offense or it's a civil wrong. Well, in Nigerian laws, a civil wrong can also be a criminal offense, particularly if it leads to a breach of peace. In the Aviomo case, determined by Justice Ogunwomoji, which has been quoted in the last 2 days, what he says is that in Lagos State and Edo State, defamation is not considered a criminal offense. But where it can become a criminal offense is when it leads to breach of public peace and violence. But in this specific case, which the Mazi Afamusigwe SAN, had to intervene, we were told that the policemen went to Dele Farotimi's law firm and disrupted the work of the lawyers, and that even one lawyer was rough-handled in the place. Now, the MDA president and MDA as a body has to stand up to ensure that people do not just keep going to people's law firms and harassing people all over the place. So Mazi Afamusigwe is to that extent right. And then the second thing is that we were told that Dele Farotimi was abducted. It was in a gangster-like, operation that he was picked up. So there are persons who have said he was not arrested, he was abducted. Because if they want to arrest him, he's a lawyer, they will have invited him. Even if he's a lawyer, he's not a lawyer, he will have been invited. And he said about a week ago, he was at the Zone 2 police headquarters, where he was presented with 2 different allegations, one by the chairman of United Band for Africa, the other by Chief Afe Babalola, SAN. Now going to abduct him, coming from Ekiti Police Command to come and abduct somebody in Lagos. The question that the Nigerian police force will have to explain to us is whether that is standard police operating procedure. So it's the untidiness of it that is also part of the problem. The Lagos Police Command could have apprehended him if that needed to be done, and they could have handed over to the appropriate jurisdiction, not to go and abduct somebody from his office. And the Ekiti Police Command, they even had the courage to come and say that they came to Lagos to take him, and they were taking him to Ekiti Police Command.
7 hours journey.
It's a law enforcement. The police is a law enforcement body. They should not be seen to be lawless. Finally, whatever the matter is, I don't think Dele Farotimi will be afraid of them. He's a lawyer. He will get his own lawyers, and he will meet them in court. His rights must be respected. So that if you accuse a man of defamation does not mean that the man is a convict per se.
Yeah.
He has a line of defenses open to him. Truth, public policy, justification, and all of that. And absence of malice. Once he can prove that he's not speaking out of malice and that he's speaking in public interest, so nobody should think that because they are highly placed, they can intimidate anybody. And no lawyer is afraid of going to court. You cannot act intimidating.
That was the moment Dele Farotimi was abducted, not arrested, abducted from his home by the Nigerian police. He was abducted for defamation of character. Defamation is a civil case. Because of defamation, the Nigerian police left Ekiti State, came to Lagos and abducted someone, took the person back to Ekiti State while driving on the road for 7 hours. Did all this because they were asked to do so by a rich man, Afe Babalola. The abduction of Dele Farotimi has stirred wide condemnation from concerned Nigerians as they are calling for his immediate release. Dele Farotimi, who was abducted in his home, has been hurriedly and speedily sentenced to prison within 24 hours. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA has issued a statement condemning his unlawful adoption and asks for his immediate release. And this is their statement. The Nigerian Bar Association NBA has been deeply concerned by the arrest of Dele Farotimi on allegations of libel. While we recognize the powers of the Nigerian police force to arrest and investigate crimes, we firmly believe that such powers must be exercised within the confines of the law and in respect of offences known to law. It is in this context that we oppose the arrest of Dele Farotimi on allegations of libel, which is not recognized as a criminal offence under the law of Lagos State. The Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011 repealed the criminalization of defamation by omitting it from its provisions. Previously, defamation was criminalized under the criminal code applicable in southern Nigeria. However, Lagos State modernized its criminal law framework through the enactment of the 2011 law, aligning with global best practices that treats defamation as a civil wrong, not a criminal offense. This position was emphatically affirmed by the Supreme Court in Aviomo versus Commissioner of Police and Anno 2011, where Justice Helen Oguwumiju held that defamation ceased to be a criminal offense in Lagos State following the enactment of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011. Furthermore, the Nigerian police force derived its powers to arrest and investigate crimes under Section 4 and 24 of the Police Act 2020. These provisions mandate the police to act only in respect of conduct that constitutes a criminal offense under Nigerian law. Arresting individuals for non-criminal matters such as defamation in Lagos State is a clear violation of these legal principles and an affront to the rule of law. The NBA unequivocally demands the immediate release of Dele Farotimi and calls on the Nigerian police force to exercise its powers responsibly and strictly in accordance with the law. We also urge all law enforcement agencies to prioritize respect of human rights and adherence to the principles of legality, as these are the foundational to the administration of justice and protection of citizens. Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party took turns to condemn the unlawful abduction of Dele Farotimi. He took to his official X account to write, "I just learned of the arrest of Dele Farotimi, a respected human rights lawyer and advocate, over an allegation of defamation. This action is a gross misuse of police powers and a grave assault on the principles of democracy and justice in Nigeria. I condemn this action in totality. It represents not only an attempt to intimidate opposing voices from questioning authority, it is also a worrying signal to every Nigerian who loves and values freedom of expression and dares to demand accountability and transparency. The Nigerian police force exists to protect the rights of citizens, not to suppress them. Defamation, by its nature, is a civil matter that should be addressed in court through due legal process in line with the dictates of the rule of law in a democracy. As a private citizen, former governor, and even today, I'm frequently defamed, insulted, and lie about and against. Yet, I have never resorted to using the Nigerian police or filing reports to silence others. Those who feel otherwise should seek redress through the proper legal channels, not by weaponizing the police or abusing their access to authority or state power. The resort to police action, in this case, reeks of abuse of power and raises serious concern about the independence and professionalism of the police as a civil force. I hereby request that Dele Farotimi should be released immediately and unconditionally. The police must recognize that their allegiance is to the Constitution and the people of Nigeria, not to the narrow interests at the behest of those in power. A new, more just and fair Nigeria is possible." Atiku Abubakar of the PDP also followed suit in condemning the unlawful abduction of Dele Farotimi, and he wrote, "The arrest and detention of lawyer and human rights advocate Dele Farotimi is unequivocally condemned. It serves as a grim reminder of the dark days of military dictatorship, when the iron fist of tyranny sought to crush all dissent. I am made aware that Dele is being accused of defamation, an offense that under normal circumstances should not warrant the involvement of law enforcement. The police intervention in such matters is nothing less than the use of a sledgehammer to swat a fly, an overreach of unimaginable proportions. This alarming trend, particularly the recent adoption, or rather the arrest of Dele Farotimi, is emblematic of this administration's insidious agenda to suffocate the fundamental right to free expression. The aim is clear: to intimidate and harass citizens, particularly those who oppose the regime and the press, thus paving the way for the establishment of a one-party state. It is imperative to remind the Tinubu administration that this repeated act of arrest stand in direct contradiction to the principles of democracy. Freedom of speech and association are not privileges but constitutional enshrined rights. If anyone feels wronged by defamatory words, they are free to seek redress in court, not at the hands of the state enforcers. It's an appalling abuse of power to use the police as a tool for personal vendetta. In 2019, I was defamed. I did not involve the police to flex muscles and intimidate the defaming citizen, but I took the case to court, where I'm currently seeking relief for the injuries to my name and integrity. Therefore, I call for the immediate and unconditional release of Dele Farotimi. In my parting shot, I've seen some persons celebrating the adoption of Dele Farotimi because to them, he doesn't speak in favor of the government. Dele Farotimi is a strong critic of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is not criticizing Bola Ahmed Tinubu because he hates Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is criticizing him because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not doing what is expected of a leader of a country like Nigeria. Celebrating his abduction because you feel that he is in the opposition makes you a very stupid person. PDP was a leading political party before in Nigeria, but today PDP is in the opposition. Power is transient. Nobody holds on to power forever. The criminality, the injustice you don't condemn today will come tomorrow to haunt you. But you know the unfortunate aspect of it? When it is your turn to be haunted, nobody will speak for you because you did not speak for those that were haunted today. As a nation, we must always learn to uphold the true value of democracy. We must always learn to defend one another. We must always learn to stand against oppression. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.